Welcome to the John Freakin' Muir Pod. Lace up those boots and sling on the pack for a romp through trails, short and long. With your host and Renaissance man, Doc. It's time to embrace the suck.
Welcome back to another week on the trail, dirtbags, and hiker trash. I'm Doc, and this is the John Freakin' Muir Pod. Let's start off with a reminder. If you are enjoying the podcast, take just a minute to help us out. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're not enjoying the pod, well, just go ahead and keep that to yourself. Well, this week we are talking to a city boy who went from no experience with and no interest in the outdoors to a total convert who is currently living the van life and hiking everywhere he can. Welcome to the John Freakin' Muir Pod, Dylan Lopez. How's it going, Dylan?
Great, great. I'm actually off away from the van right now. I just came back to New York City. I'm in the Upper West Side, actually. And it's weird being back in civilization. It's weird smelling good.
Yeah, we had to juggle this around a little bit. We had some conflicts, and I know you're leaving soon to head to the West Coast in the van. And I appreciate you being flexible and getting this interview in.
Oh, of course, anytime. Yeah, I'm heading to Jasper and Banff when I head back out there, so pretty stoked for that.
Nice. That should be epic.
Yeah. It'll be sick. I've never been out there before. I spent like a few weeks in Tofino Island, and that was awesome. Pacific Rim National Park was really cool. But I'm stoked to get out there. Fantastic.
Hey, there is an American long trail tradition of handing out trail names when you're out on the trail. It's usually based on maybe your point of origin or maybe some peculiarity you might have, or maybe some incident that happens on the trail. Have you been assigned a trail name in all of your adventures out there?
So I have been assigned one. I was actually hiking the Ray Lakes Loop in Kings Canyon National Park, and I ran into a bunch of PCT hikers, and they were super cool. And I had this giant bag of Fruit Loops. And everyone was like kind of like just sharing food or whatever. They're like, "Oh, Dylan, what do you got?" And I'm like, "I got this big bag of Fruit Loops." And it was just like, boom, we got your trail name, your Fruit Loops now.
Fruit Loops. I love it, man. That's great. Of all the possibilities out there, Fruit Loops, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I'll take it. It was so interesting because like I didn't really know much about trail names. And it's like seeing grown men being like, "Oh, hi, like you can call me Spine Walker." I'm like, "Oh, word." That's different. First and last name Spine Walker, or
yeah, I had a similar experience. We were doing a test of our gear. We were getting ready to do our first multi-day hike. We did a test of our gear out in Acton, Agua Dulce at the KOA, and we did a short segment, maybe 10, 12 miles of the PCT. And that morning, we ran into our first PCT hiker and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And we kind of introduced ourselves. And he goes, "Yeah, hi, I'm Cheese." I'm like, okay.
I know it always like threw me off the first few times. I'm like, "Oh, okay, Stumbleweed. Okay, cool. Nice to meet you." Like, my name's Dylan.
Interesting. All right. Well, today you're Fruit Loops.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Hey, Fruit Loops, have you had a chance to listen to the podcast before?
Yeah, I've actually listened to a few episodes. I listened to one. Oh, who's the guy with that crazy big beard? It was.
Did IB
He was a friend. He's been. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. That was awesome. That was a funny one. That one, and with I think it was Kate. She did like AT and the PCT.
Kate Cloud. Her girl name is I think Feathers. Feathers or Feather. One of those two. Yeah, they're actually friends. They know each other. So.
Oh really? Oh yeah. Because I remember she mentioned that was like a part of the segment when she mentioned him, and I was like, "Oh, let me check out his podcast as well." He seems like a cool dude.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I only ask because I want to make sure that you are aware of a segment that we have towards the end of the podcast where I'm going to ask you for the pro tip insight of the week. And that's where you will share some trail wisdom with our listeners to make their next outdoor experience even better. So don't be surprised when we get there.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
The Must Bring Gear Review.
All right. Hey, another feature we've been doing this season is the Must Bring Gear Review, sponsored by the ultralight backpacking gear company 6 Moon Designs. And here's how it works. Fruit Loops, if you were to let a stranger pack your bag with pretty much generic gear for a multi-day hike, what is the one specific piece of gear you would insist on being packed? And if you've got a particular brand for that specific piece of gear, even better. So Fruit Loops, what is your must-bring piece of gear out there?
So I don't even know if I would qualify this as gear, but it's something that I need to bring no matter what. Burnt Bees chapstick. My very first backpacking trip was actually in Teton National Park, and it was a nightmare from beginning to end. But one of the most uncomfortable parts about the trip is that my lips were so chapped; they were like bleeding for days. And my friends were just like, "Don't even look at me! Like I can't look at those lips, like disgusting." It was so
Something
fun
out
when I
of,
posted
something out
the
of a
picture.
horror show.
Oh my gosh, it was gross. When I posted on Instagram, my little brothers was like, they tagged Aquaphor and all these other companies, like, please help this guy. Like, he's a mess.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, sunglasses, chapstick or Burt's Bees, taking care of those eyes and the lips. I think people maybe aren't accustomed to how much sun they're going to get out there and how much exposure. That's important stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially when you're so high up, it's so easy to dry out. Like I think the highest I got up there was like Paintbrush Divide, which was like a little over 10,000 feet or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was chapstick.
Okay. Good recommendation. Thank you. And what kind of gear, what kind of other gear do you carry out there? What's your pack look like?
So typically shelter wise, I'll do like just a tarp or just a tarp setup. I usually bring a camp stove. I don't do soaking or anything like that. That's a little bit too gnarly for me. And just basically, 10 essentials. I try to keep it as bare bones as possible. I have like an ultralight, one of those ULA bags. So try to just keep it minimal now.
Right. Now, do you have a favorite tarp pitch? Favorite tarp setup?
Honestly, this is ridiculous, but I bought when I first started, one of the things I was just like, oh, I can get a tarp. I just bought something off Amazon. I was like, this works. Like, let's set it up. I just use my trekking poles, and I do love my sleeping pad. I use the Nemo tensor light. Mm-hmm. That is freaking amazing. Oh my gosh. I went from like an Amazon basic, like $30 thing. And I'm like, I'm going to spend money on this because it just deflates on me every day for the past few years of hiking. So
nice. Now there are a bunch of ways you can set up your tarp, different configurations, from the typical A-frame to, the plow to the asymmetrical Holden. I mean, there's a whole genre of YouTube videos out there that you can just go down the rabbit hole and just watch for hours on end about different ways to set up your tarp, depending on the elements and the conditions out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I usually just set them up, stake both my trekking poles in the ground, tie them to that, and then fasten them with like stakes around. And that's been great. I've done it with some pretty crazy windy situations and like snow and rain, and it's held up so far. So nice. That's how I usually set them up.
Okay.
How do you do it? How do you hike? What's your shelter like?
So I've done both. I've done both tarp and tent. I went through a tarp phase where I was trying to be ultralight, and my favorite setup with the tarp was an asymmetrical Holden, which kind of gives you some exposure to the night sky, so you can be laying down and watching the stars out there. But more recently, I've gone back to a tent. So,
right on.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just like, I love losing the weight. I'm just like, oh man, one less thing to carry, one less thing to set up and break down. I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah, there's a balance out there, though. I mean, there's a balance between weight and also, comfort. I mean, you don't want to be, suffering out there. It's nice to have the stuff you need if you're willing to carry that weight. So.
Oh yeah, totally. It's definitely all about balance. Like, shows up to me out of cowboy camp though every freaking day.
Okay, nice. All right, here we go.
It's the hiking pole.
All right, so we've got the hiking pole next, and pole is P-O-L-L, not P-O-L-E. So it's not what you hold in your hands out there. This is a 7-question survey that's going to help me determine your level of sanity on a scale of 1 to 100, with 1 being completely insane and 100 being completely sane. Now, if I were to ask your friends, Dylan, where they would rank you on that scale of sanity, where do you think most of them would put you? What number?
They'd probably put me so all my friends are like typical city boys, city girls. So like the fact that I even go out and doing these things, I think I'm a crazy person. Like I think I'm pretty normal, but like if you ask my friends, like just urban dwellers, like living in their apartment, not really going outside as much, like I'd be nuts.
So you think they'd score you below 50 or over 50?
They'd score me below 1.
Below 1. Wow, that's
They put me in the negatives.
Okay.
I don't think I
Nice.
am that. Pretty normal.
All right. So we have 7 questions, and you would think with the name of this being the hiking poll, it'd be about hiking, but really, I've taken the last few episodes to kind of diverge from hiking questions, and we're wrestling with the big life questions out there, and I want to see where you stand on some of these issues. And we could really devote an episode to each one of these questions, but we'll kind of go through. It's good to hear your answer on this, see which side of the fence you fall on, and then also don't be afraid to justify your answer.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So first question, big question. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Nothing else.
Just pineapple?
Just pineapple. That's all I put there. I don't even do cheese anymore. I just put pineapple on it. I'll make the pizza and that's it.
That's bold. That's bold right there. Okay. Question number 2. Do you roll your toilet paper over or under?
Oh, I don't even pay attention to that. I'm a crumpler though. I don't even pay attention to that. Over or under, I don't care. I'll smack on the roll until it comes out.
So either way,
don't pay attention to that.
It's not a big issue to you. Either way, it's fine.
Nah, I don't care. I don't pay attention.
Okay.
I will say I'm not a folder though. I'm a crumpler.
Oh, okay. This is kind of a tangent to this question. That's no one's ever said that before, Dylan. So this is good. You're not a crumpler. You're not a folder.
No,
you're a
I am.
crumpler.
I'm a crumpler. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Very good. All
Are
right.
you a
Question
folder
number
or
3. Say that again.
Are you a folder or a crumpler?
I'm a crumpler.
I got it. All right.
Yeah.
I know I like you, Doc.
Thank you. We're we have this kinship already. I can feel it.
I already feel it.
Okay. Question number 3. Cats or dogs?
That's a tough one. I'd probably say dogs, but like cats aren't too bad either. But if I was to pick one, it would be a dog.
And are you a big dog kind of guy, a little dog, or somewhere in the middle?
I like somewhere in the middle. I really think like if I was to get a dog, it'd probably be like an Australian Shepherd or something. Like super smart, not terribly big, not like an annoying little rat.
Yeah, back to the poop question, kind of related. You never want to get a dog that has bigger poop than you. That's my
like,
kind of theory.
That's a solid like strategy. Just like cut out your dogs if you're looking for a new one in the market. It's like, okay, like maybe not a Doberman, maybe we'll do a poodle.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Question number 4. Do you use the Oxford comma?
I barely know how to use a regular comma. I definitely don't use an Oxford one.
Okay. So to clarify, in the sentence, the flag is red, white, and blue. How many commas in that sentence?
I don't use the one with the and.
Oh, you don't use that. That is the Oxford comma.
I know.
You don't use the Oxford comma. That is disappointing to hear, Dylan.
I'm a minimalist. I'm sorry. I pack light, even with my grammar.
Nice. I pack light even with my grammar. Okay. It's like I said, I like the justification. I like to hear the argument behind the answer because, I want to see how your mind works.
Yeah. If I can get away with as little words as possible, usually I'll do that.
Right. You ever a big fan of The Office?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Remember the episode where Kevin was trying to use as few words as possible to increase his productivity?
Less words gets more time for other things.
That's right. Okay. Question number 6. Interested to hear the New York perspective on this. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
What the? No. It's a hot dog.
A hot dog's a hot dog. It's not a sandwich.
No, it's a hot dog. Hot dog's a hot dog. Definitely not a sandwich.
All right, Dylan. What's your definition? What's your definition of sandwich?
All right. Here's the definition of the sandwich. You ready? It needs to be sandwiched up, down. It needs to be stacked and no open. See, for a hot dog, for me, it could be a sandwich. If you put a hot dog in like 2 big buns, then I'd be like, okay, that's a hot dog sandwich. But I would not say a hot dog is just a sandwich. It's a hot dog. like with the traditional bun and everything.
What disqualifies a hot dog from being a sandwich?
Not enough coverage of the buns. It's too open faced.
So you would argue then that open faced sandwiches aren't really sandwiches either.
Nah, it's an open face. Actually, maybe they should be a sandwich. I don't know. Doc, you got me questioning everything now, man.
Taking a different look at life. That's what we're doing here.
Jeez.
All right. Question number 7. Your most useful skill in case of a zombie apocalypse.
So I'd probably say, like, if I'm trying to get into a group or a squad, I'd probably pitch being like, so I used to work as a PA before I did this. I left and did this van life thing. So I did orthopedics for a while. So like did a lot of like reducing fractures, popping back in dislocated joints. I worked in the OR a bunch. So I'd probably say that medical experience and training.
Okay. So someone gets bit by the zombie, you'd be the person to go to hack off that limb.
Well, it depends like what kind of zombie we're talking about. But like if it's a Grateful Dead zombie, you have to just take them out, right?
No, but if your buddy who is not a zombie gets bitten by the zombie, I mean, you're the guy that's going to take the arm off to save him.
Oh yeah, I would take the arm off. Totally. Not that was part of my training, but like I'm down. I can do that.
Have him bite on a stick, and here we go.
I give him a couple of drinks and let's party.
Okay. All right. Let me do some quick math here and arrive at that score. We're going to carry the 2. We're going to divide by pi.
Okay.
Take that. We're going to multiply by the root of 5. And let's see. Let's adjust for the atmospheric pressure at 14,505 feet, which is the altitude of Mount Whitney. And you come out with a 55.
Ooh, I'm not that crazy.
55. You're not that sane either, though.
No, definitely not that sane. Yeah. Sane people don't live in vans.
Well, let's hear about van life. What pushed you to kind of leave normal trappings behind of a civilized life and move everything into a van?
So I would definitely say it has a lot to do with like my upbringing. Like I came up in a pretty conservative family. And like everything was always very much so. Like, you finish high school, you go to college. You finish college, you go to grad school. You finish grad school, you work. You get a wife, get kids, settle down. That's it. Mm-hmm. And like, especially with COVID, like it was a real eye opener. With like nothing's really guaranteed. You know, like you don't know. Like you can have all these plans and aspirations to do all this traveling or see the things you want to see, but like if you don't just do it, you may not. You don't know what life brings, you know? So I was just like, it was something I've always wanted to do, was to travel and explore all these places. And I'm just like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, no, let's explore that a little bit. Dylan, how old are you?
I'm 28.
28. So I'm about 25 plus years older than you. Got a lot of experience in my career and profession. And so let's talk about COVID. When COVID hit and it kind of turned the world on its ear for a couple of years, you know, you have a bunch of us older folks who kind of keep going and continue down the path we've already established. But how did COVID and the way that all played out, how did that affect the younger generation and their concepts of work and being productive members of society and kind of, you know, what their career is and what's available to them? And I think with a lot of people working from home for an extended period of time, I think it reshaped a lot of the perspectives of our younger generations. Is that true?
Yeah, and I would definitely say it depends on what fields you're working in, right? Like I worked in the medical field. Like my day to day, well, it was a little bit crazier during that like big month, especially in New York City, like where it was like the epicenter or whatever.
Right.
But it depends what you do. And like personally, I'm like very sociable. I like interacting with people, like talking. And if I had to work from home, I would have gone nuts. So like how it shaped people's perspective, I think like it showed that a lot of work can be done like online for a lot of these jobs, like business or marketing. I'm not going to pretend like I know what they do on a day to day because I don't. Mm-hmm. But I think it gave a lot of people that idea that like, oh, you can do a lot of this stuff remote. And I think there's some benefits to that for the individual, but I think that also hampers a lot of other things, right? Like it's great to be able to, like, if you're really into traveling and seeing the world and exploring, like I think it's awesome to be able to work from home. Sounds amazing. Like you can travel wherever you want, get Airbnbs in different parts of the world, and you can do a lot of exploring while still not leaving your job or skipping a beat. And on the contrary to that, I think like social interaction is super important just for everyone. And it's too easy to stay in your bubble at home and like just not really go out and see much. So it's like pro and con. I don't know if that answered your question, but
I think it's a good discussion. I'm gonna stipulate right now that I don't have the facts on this. I just have my own anecdotal experiences and the people that I've talked to on this podcast and what I've seen out in the world. It seems to me that we've got more people who are kind of choosing to drop out of what's expected of them in society and are doing things like walking for 2,600 miles from Mexico to Canada, or who are living in vans and seeing the country and working remote that way. I like I said, I don't have the stats on that, but it just seems to me more of that happening today than at any other previous time in the last 20, 25 years.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. Like, I don't know the stats either, but it seems like that's the trend. Like I met a lot of people who have left and to live in South America for a few months, or have gone to Europe for a few months, like literally just like left, like all right, I'm gone, like this is where I'm going to be at for a while. And like, I don't know, I think it really, for me, again, my personal perspective was like, nothing's guaranteed. I think it robbed a lot of people felt robbed. Like people had plans, people had like things they wanted to do during that time. And like COVID really like cramped that a lot. Like it really hindered that. So I think people have a lot of built up like need for travel. And I think that's a big reason why people are just going out and realizing like, hey, like life is short. Let's go and let's do it. Yeah.
And I think before Brenda in Tennessee writes in and corrects me with some statistics out there, Brenda, hang on a second.
You take it easy, Karen.
I think back in March of 2020, before we understood exactly what was going on and the whole world shut down, I mean, I think people were worried that they're going to catch this, they're going to die. And a lot of people did. And it was very serious. But I think that really put things into perspective for folks. And they said, you know what, you only get one go around here. And
absolutely,
if you know, who knows what's coming next, I'm going to live my life and do what I want to do.
Yeah, I think that was very well said. Like, exactly. Like you only go around, everyone only gets to go around once. Like, I don't know, people have different religious beliefs and everything like that, but like, all right, everyone goes around once. If you take that as a basic truth, then like, to not do everything that you're aspiring to do or that you dream about doing would be kind of like not wasteful, almost like wasteful. I think COVID, like blessing in disguise, like obviously not a good thing that it happened, but I think it opened a lot of people's eyes to that facet of life. That it's like it kind of it took everyone out of that normal like routine. Wake up, go to work, and then you die. But
right.
But yeah, I think like I agree with you. Like it really opened people's eyes to that.
Yeah, and Brenda, stop typing on the keyboard right now because I don't want you thinking I'm minimizing COVID and its impact. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I've got all my shots. I know how deadly the disease was with the Delta variant and how it's still impacting people today. But I'm just saying that back in March of 2020, it was really a big unknown. And I think it was a really big wake up call for a lot of people who may have been stuck in jobs that maybe they were, not fully vested in, weren't, feeling the passion for their jobs. And they're thinking, you know what, if I'm going to die, next month because of this, what haven't I done? And I think that they had an impact on the way people, kind of see how they should live their lives.
Oh, absolutely. Like more power to them. Like, I think that's great. I mean, I'm doing it.
Yeah. And if your name is Brenda and you're in Tennessee, I just want to say that I've never received an email from you. That's just a made up name, just as an example. Don't take offense. But I have received some angry emails from a few folks after certain episodes. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands where I'm coming from here.
They must have not heard the intro to the podcast. They don't like it. Just keep that to yourself, right?
That's right. Just keep it to yourself. That's right. No.
Don't DM me either. I don't want any DMs from any Karens or Brendas or anything. I'm gonna ignore it. I barely even check my Instagram, so don't do it.
All right. Hey, Fruit Loops, let's back up a little bit before we get too far down the trail. We'd love to hear about your background, kind of where you grew up, sports and hobbies that you played, maybe in high school, and how did you get involved in the outdoor adventure cult? Because
yeah,
it's. I think I have a feeling that it's not a traditional trajectory where city boy then becomes involved in van life and doing as much hiking as he can. So I'd love to hear how that all came about.
Yeah, totally. So I originally was born and lived in Queens until I was like 7 or 8. And then my family moved out to Long Island, New York. And I kind of grew up there until I graduated from college. And then I went back to the city for PA school. And I lived there for the last 6 years until I left to live in the van. Yeah, that's basically where I grew up and where I'm from.
Mm-hmm. And brothers and sisters?
Oh yeah, I have. I'm the oldest of 4. There's 4 of us.
Oldest of 4. And are you the trendsetter of the family? Are your other 3 siblings now deciding that they want to live in a van as well?
Most certainly not. I am the I'm the freak of the family. That is for sure. I brought him. It was so funny. I brought him to Yosemite. Like they met me up on my Yosemite part of the trip, and they were like, "What's with all of the walking? I can't do the walking anymore. There's no AC to not." And I'm like, what do you think hiking is? Like, just walk everywhere. Like it was just so funny hearing that. I'm like, classic.
But does the rest of the family think you're crazy? Do they think there's something a little bit off about you?
Oh my God. Yeah, they think I'm nuts. My dad, I think when I first told my dad that I was going to quit my job and live in a van, he was like, "That is the stupidest thing I have heard in my entire life." He's come around since, but it's super funny. They were not about it starting off, which is fair.
It went down pretty much as we would expect it to go down.
Exactly.
Telling your parents that you're going to do this. Okay.
Yeah. They're like, you went to all this schooling and you make good money and you have a great job and you're living in a van. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. So I wanted to do.
Did you have a lot of outdoor experience growing up? Did you guys do camping?
Absolutely not. No, I didn't do any of that. So I was really into sports. Like I played almost everything under the sun. Volleyball was my big sport. But I also played soccer. I played baseball. I played a lot of pickup basketball and football. Like I played everything growing up. And then I actually got into the outdoors in grad school. So like I think it was like when I graduated PA school. So like I think it was like 5 years ago when I first got into it. And it was from my buddy actually. I saw his background and his screensaver, and it was of Bryce Canyon, like a beautiful picture of all the hoodoos. And I was just like, wow, it's an amazing wallpaper, man. Like, where'd you get that? Where'd you download it from? Like, what website did you find? He's like, dude, I took that. Like, I was out hiking, and I was like, wow, that's insane. So that was like right before our summer break. So I called up one of my buddies from college. I was like, hey man, we got to do like a hiking road trip, like, and just hit a bunch of parks in like Utah and Arizona. We'll see as much as we can. We'll do a ton of hiking. He's like, yeah, it sounds awesome. So we go out and we fly out there. We rent a car and we don't have any gear. We didn't fly out there with any gear at all. We have nothing. So what we did was like, okay, we'll go to Walmart and we'll buy everything. So we bought a ton of stuff. We were like, okay, we're not going to do backpacking because we don't know anything. We're just going to car camp and we're going to hike. So we buy all the stuff from Walmart. I think we hiked, we did Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon, Grand Canyon, and Antelope Canyon, the Lake Powell area. Mm-hmm. So we did all that in like 3 weeks or so. And then at the end of the trip, we like had all this like we had this tent that we shared and all of our gear. And we went back to Walmart and we were like, we are going to return all this now. So we went to Walmart and we're like, can we return all of our gear? And can we just return this? Like with like the ripped boxes and everything. And they were like, yeah, I guess so. So not the most honest thing in the world, but we were broke college kids. So we're like, like this is what we'll do.
So I've heard a lot about first trips, come across a lot of people, and they've shared their first experiences out there and how they got outfitted. I have to tell you, this is the first time that I've had a guest share that they got fully outfitted from Walmart. That's typically not. I mean, Walmart's got a lot of stuff.
It's not your REI.
Yeah, I'm not bad mouthing Walmart, but it's not. Yeah, you're right. It's not REI, right? Or other outfitters like that. You know, they've got a lot of stuff, but you know how well did the Walmart gear serve you on that trip?
Like it wasn't until I got seriously into hiking and backpacking that I realized I was like, oh my God, I didn't even buy a sleeping pad. Like we didn't even buy sleeping pads. We slept on the ground and we had like pillows we brought from home. we slept on that. It's like talk about like just figuring it out on the go. it was funny. But the Walmart equipment like was fine. I mean, we just got a tent and then that was it. I didn't buy hiking poles or anything. It was only day hikes. So we didn't really need them.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Was it pretty much day hikes, or were you guys doing some multi-day adventures out there?
No, that was like we went to speak to a ranger because we wanted to try doing a backpacking trip. Because my friend like really got me into it. It was like when he was telling me all about it, that sounds awesome. But once the rangers started explaining what it entails, we like looked at each other and were like, maybe another time. we're gonna stick with the day hikes. Like, we're gonna pass on that.
Okay.
Which
now
is smart.
You've mentioned PA school a couple of times. For those out there who may not be familiar with that, what is PA school?
Oh yeah, so it's a physician assistant. So it varies by state. Like different states have different laws and rules. In New York, they actually have a lot of autonomy. So we assist in the operating room. I do orthopedics, so like there's a fracture or dislocation, like or a consult in the ER. The PA is the one who sees you. They'll evaluate the patient. They'll send the X-rays to the physician. If they need surgery, we book them for the OR and get them ready for the case. And then we handle patients on the floor. And they can also work in so many different settings, like almost across any kind of specialty. And whether it be in an office or hospital-based, you can do a lot. If people are familiar with NPs, they're very similar to that, just a different training. I think NPs, the way it's usually described is they were trained off the nursing model as opposed to PAs. It's more of a medical base. They try to model it after medical school.
Okay. And is that what you're currently doing to pay the bills and finance your adventures? You're still using your PA background to do that?
No. I'm just blowing through cash right now, honestly. I live pretty cheaply. I don't ever really like other than rent when I lived in Manhattan, like everything was pretty affordable. Like I didn't buy nice things or anything. So I had a ton of money saved, and I have a website that like for beginner backpackers and hikers. So I kind of like just for how-tos to guide people, because like for me, I didn't know anything. Like it would be nice to have a guide like that. So that's why I have that, and that makes me some money, but not like enough to live off of or anything like that.
Yeah. Do you point new backpackers in the direction of Walmart to satisfy all their hiking needs?
Get outfitted by your local Walmart. No, definitely not. Don't go to Walmart. I don't recommend that. It's a terrible idea.
So other than the website, I mean, do you have any other source of income at this time? You're blowing through what you saved before?
Blowing through what I saved before. Yeah, I make, like I said, some money off of ads and affiliate sales, but like not a whole lot. I plan on starting working again probably in October or November, depending on how my licensing works out and whatnot.
Okay. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into some nitty gritty of your first backpacking trip out there. We're going to talk about some Type 2 adventure and more about van life. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We were talking to Fruit Loops, also known as Dylan Lopez, about how a city boy from New York City has found himself living in a van and doing as much hiking as he can across the country. And so I'm really intrigued about your first backpacking trip.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that.
So the same buddy whose screensaver I saw, like what got me into going on my first hiking trip, he was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna do a backpacking trip in Grand Teton National Park. We're gonna do the Teton Crest Trail." I was like, I don't know what that is. I never heard of Grand Teton National Park, but I'm down. Let's do it. So me and my other buddy Tom, we went out and we were like, okay, like we're gonna get all the gear, and he gave us a whole list of things to get. And I'm super cheap, so like I tried to cut corners every single way I could, which is not a great idea. But yeah, we had a few gear fails during that hike for sure.
So what? Tell me the consequences of the gear that you bought, the corners you tried to cut, and how it impacted the gear fails.
Okay, so we'll start with the tent. The tent I got was just given to me by my uncle. And he was like, "Oh, I got a tent for you. That's perfect. Like, yeah, take this." And I was like, "Oh, sweet, perfect. Let's do it." I didn't try it out. I didn't open it. I didn't take it out of the bag. I didn't do anything. I just took it, threw it in the backpacking bag. And I was like, "All right, tent checked off." When we arrived at the park, and we car camped the first day before we went backpacking, and I set up my tent. And my friend Joe, the one who's super into backpacking and hiking and all that stuff, and the one who got organized the trip, he was like, "Dude, you don't have a rain cover." I'm like, "What's a rain cover?" And I was like, "Well, I don't understand." And he's like, "You need something to cover your tent. It's raining almost every day this trip." And I'm like, "Oh, damn." So I turned to my friend Tom, and I'm like, "Hey, you have a 2-person tent, right?" So I wound up bunking up with him for the next 4 or 5 days, which he did not like, but at least I stayed dry.
You're dry, but there's no secrets inside a 2-person tent.
Oh my gosh, we did not like each other for those 3 days. Oh my gosh, that was one gear fail. Then another one was this. So same uncle, I was like, "Oh, I also need a sleeping pad. You got anything like that?" Like again, I didn't bring a sleeping pad on that like hiking trip I did. So he's like, "Oh, I think I got something for you." Like, and he gave me this like cotton pad, which like cotton is the worst thing ever to burn hiking ever, like for anyone who doesn't know that already, like the worst thing. And my friend was like, "Where did you buy that?" I was like, "Oh, my uncle got it for me. Like he lives in Queens." And he's like, "Dude, this is like, you can't sleep on that." And like the first night I put it down, it literally turned like became a rock. And I was just sleeping on a rock for like 4 days. I didn't sleep that entire trip, like not even a wink, like from that sleeping bag.
Let me ask you, Dylan, did your uncle like you?
I thought he did until he gave me this stuff.
What was the extent of your uncle's backpacking experience or camping experience?
He's never backpacked before. He's never backpacked before. He's camped before. He's definitely camped a bunch. But yeah, I feel like he probably just went to like Del Water Gap by like right outside, like not too like 2 hours from the city, and he probably just went there in like a few days. It was like during the summertime, so he never had a problem. Is my guess.
Okay, so this is an important point here, that those people out there who have done some camping in their past, who are maybe thinking of making the transition to backpacking, it's not necessarily the same equipment.
Not the same equipment. Also, oh my gosh, trekking poles. Man, my friend, the exact same thing. He was like, "Dude, you should get trekking poles. I'm actually buying a new set. To buy one, get one. Do you want to go in on it with me?" And I laughed at him because, well, I'm cheap, and I like busting his, just like messing with him. So like I'm like, "Bro, I don't need trekking poles. I got 2 trekking poles right here." And I point to my legs. I'm like, "I don't need trekking poles." And then literally, I think it was the second day of the hike, we're like climbing up this steep hill, and my knees are killing me. And he turns back and he like sees me just struggling. He's like, "You need a trekking pole now?" I'm like, "Yeah, please."
Yeah, you know what? A lot of first timers out there, they don't believe the hype on trekking poles. I think they're afraid that they're going to look funny using trekking poles, or trekking poles are for old people, or something like that, and they don't believe in the trekking pole experience. But you know what? Doing a long distance hike without trekking poles, that's a lot tougher than it should be.
Yeah, for everything. Like I feel like it keeps your cadence better. Like it takes so much of a load off your knees. Like with the amount of weight you're carrying. I don't know how when I see people without trekking poles, I'm like, "What's wrong Like, why do you do this?
So Joe was the friend who had some experience. He's the guy that had the picture on his wallpaper, right? He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he's actually from Phoenix. He's from Arizona. So
Mm-hmm.
he came to the city for PA school. So he's done a ton of backpacking before all of this. So that's why, like, every time something happened, he was just like, "Oh my God, why?"
It had to be a comedy sketch for him. He probably just had to be laughing pretty hard out there.
He was having a ball. Oh my God, he was having too much fun. Just like, and me and Tom were just bickering the whole time because, I didn't even tell you about Tom. So Tom, so me and my issue was, like, I didn't bring enough stuff. He packed so much crap that he just didn't need. Like, I kid you not, he brought jeans with a belt and like on the train. I'm like, and like, as me and Joe see him unpacking he has so much stuff in his bag. I'm carrying all of his food. So I'm just like, what the hell? What are you keeping in there, Tom? And he's like taking things out of his bag, and it's like jeans are in there. He has like shaving cream in there. I'm like, why do you have all these things? And then the thing that got me the most was he had this brush, like this big. I kid you not, it was this big, this brush. And me and Joe are just like, dude, what are you doing? Do you have a Tinder date out here? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's all like the cosmetic stuff?
And did he carry that stuff the whole time?
Yeah. He had no choice. Once we left, he was just like, we were out for 4 days. It was like, I think we did 3 nights, 4 days or something like that. But yeah, he carried it the whole time with him. And like, it wasn't until I saw the comb that I was like, are you kidding me, man? Like, I'm carrying all your food. Throw that, like, you bastard.
So of the two of you, Dylan or Tom, which one was the worst off out there in terms of what they brought or didn't bring?
I was probably worst off because he had like a nice sleeping pad. He was able to sleep every night. Like, I kid you not, I maybe slept like 4 hours or something like that total for like those 3 days. It was crazy, but I still had an amazing time, which I loved. Like, which Joe was so surprised that he was like, wait, you want to go again? I just saw you eat it for like 3 days, 4 days. Like, you really want to go again? But like, I don't know, it's something about being out there is just like such a cool way to like, especially when you're from an area where it's like super, very urban and like buildings and concrete and kind of dark trash all over the place, like being in a pristine area like that. I don't know. It's weird. It's like almost ineffable to explain. It's like you feel like a weird connection, like just to everything. Like it was really cool. So like that's what got me hooked. I still like it, even though I made all these fails and like it was brutal and I was disgustingly out of shape. Like I was like really big into weightlifting. I never really ran or anything. So like I struggled throughout it, but like I had a great time.
Okay. Now your uncle's tent did not have a rain fly, so you and Tom are sleeping in the same 2-person tent. Were you Big Spoon or Little Spoon?
Oh, I'm always Big Spoon. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Just checking.
Yeah. He didn't like that. He didn't like that. But
and did the weather cooperate with you out there? And was it fairly nice, or was it just there's some moments?
It rained literally almost every day. It rained like the first, I think it was 4 days. It rained like the first 2.5 days. Like it rained on us. And when we got up to higher elevations, it snowed. Like when we got to Hurricane Pass, it was honestly pretty scary. It was snowing so hard on us that like it was starting to obstruct like trail. Like you couldn't see where the trail was going. So as we made our way up the pass, like we see the trail fading and fading. So we're like kind of going off and trying different directions, and like we're using the compass and everything. But like there was a bunch of switchbacks we just didn't see down that mountain. So it was fine. Like we were just stressed out because like we don't want to freaking set up camp down here or have to hike back and like set up camp somewhere else. So we were just kept looking, and the scary part was like as we would go off, the snow was coming down so hard it was like covering up our footprints. So we were like, oh crap, like we gotta get the heck out of here. Luckily we stumbled on the trail, and and like made our way out of there. But yeah, it was dicey for a hot sec.
Okay. Now, even though that experience sounds like it was a questionable experience, and it wasn't all sunlight and rainbows out there. I mean, you had gear issues, you had weather issues, but yet you still said to yourself, "This is pretty amazing. I want to do something like this again."
Oh yeah, it's like I said before, like it was like a crazy way to like, I don't know, like it's like almost like you're taking like a bath for your soul, and it's just like, oh wow, you come out and you just feel so much better, and like it's just crazy. Like and like not to knock a city or anything, but like when you visit a city, it's a city, you know, like it's there's bars, there's restaurants, you can go out, nightclubs and stuff like that. But like, and I would say like each city has their vibe, especially you travel like Europe or just different countries. But like, there's something about going out somewhere and just like witnessing like, wow, just like a beautiful like alpine lake, like in the middle of nowhere, and you're the only one there. It's like, it's pretty cool. Like, not too many people. It's nice that you have to earn it too. I think that's pretty cool. Otherwise, we get mad when I see day hikers going when I'm backpacking. Like, damn it, there's an easier way.
You got to put in the work to see these sites.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, and everyone has to pay the same amount. You know, we all walk the same amount. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, Fruit Loops, at this time, the time of the Grand Teton National Park trip, are you still working as a PA? Do you still have your job and you're kind of establishing your career? You're putting away some money.
Yeah. This was actually my first year. That was my first year working as a PA, I think, was at Teton's trip. So that was like 4 years ago.
So working as a PA, living in the city, making good money, and then making the decision to live in a van and just experience adventure out there firsthand as much as possible. Those are two very different ways of life. Take me through the decision-making process that you went through, that you said, you know what, I need to make a change in my life.
Yeah. So it was, I'm trying to think of the right words to say this. It was almost like, the best way I can describe it is like, I was doing something to get something else. You know, I wasn't like directly doing what I wanted to be doing. And like, hey, everyone wants to go and travel and like adventure and see, maybe not everyone wants to do adventure, but everyone wants to travel. Like everyone says like, oh, I love traveling. Like I want to do that. But like, I truly just wanted to experience new places and like do as many of these hikes as you can. Cause like we talked about, we only get one go around, right? And I want to kind of like wring everything out I can out of like this life I have. So COVID, like, again, like we said, like a real eye opener. And just being in a city, like where it's the trend, I don't know, it depends on who you are. Everyone's different. But for me, it was, you know, you work during the week, you go out, you party during the weekend, then you come back and you do it all over again. You work during the week, party the weekend. It's like I wanted to do what I wanted to be doing. When I kept saying to myself over like my last year and a half, 2 years of working, it's like, I just want to like drop everything and just travel. I just want to like see and like experience all these things. Like there's so much, I know there's so much out there. Like, and I traveled a lot when I could, like as much as I could, but it just didn't feel like enough. So I was like, you know what, like I'm done trading. Like I'm done doing something that like, not that I didn't like my job as a kid, but I'm doing something that I didn't want to be doing like that much, as opposed to just doing what I wanted to do. And like, I'm young, I don't have like a wife or kids or anything. It's like, now's the time to do it. So it's like, I'd rather like make a whole financial decision on all fronts and just leave and live in a van, especially with gas the way it is. But, and like not leave anything on the table, if that makes sense. Like, no, I would rather not regret doing it than doing it and being like, oh, I wish I had some extra money.
And where did you get the van? And tell us about the conversion. Did you have to convert it with an existing van, or did you get a van that was already converted?
No, I converted an existing van. So I bought it. It was a Nissan NV, which is like not one that's typically converted. Usually they convert like the Ram ProMasters, Mercedes Sprinters, or the Ford Transit. Those are the three most common vans to convert. but I converted the Nissan NV because it was during that chip shortage, and used cars, especially those cargo vans, were so hard to come by, and they were like pretty high in price, a lot of them. So I was able to get a good deal on the Nissan NV, and it was like a little bit harder for the conversion, but I was able to, I converted that. It was like just an empty shell, and like watched a ton of YouTube. And my uncle's a contractor, so he was able to help me out with like some of the more technical stuff, like electrical work, and what's it called, and the plumbing. But
is this the same uncle that gave you the camping gear?
Different uncle. This uncle likes me a little bit more.
This one likes you. Okay, good, got it. I was gonna say, if this is the same uncle, hey, you got to be a little bit suspicious, I think.
I know, right? I'm like, have holes in my roof. Yeah.
So I was talking about this episode a little bit earlier today with some of my family who was over, and my nephew said, "Hey, you got to ask Dylan, what does he miss the most from his regular life, from pre-van life? Now you live in a van. What do you miss most? What creature comfort out there do you kind of pine away for sometimes out in the van?"
Let me see. That's tough. Honestly, like I'm really enjoying myself. like people are like, "Oh, aren't you lonely?" Like this and the other. And like, I wake up every day doing whatever I want. So like I'm pretty friendly. I can like meet people everywhere I go. I'd say like the one creature comfort that I miss, probably a dishwasher. I hate washing dishes. But yeah, kind of lame, but okay, I really miss a dishwasher.
Okay. Now, do you have a bathroom in your van?
Oh my gosh. Do I have a bathroom? Yes, I have a bathroom. It is the Ferrari of van toilets. I'm gonna get on my pedestal right now because I love this thing so much. It's called like it's called the Lopez dry flush. And this, you know, like a diaper genie, like for
Oh yeah, I know what a diaper genie is. Yes.
Yeah, so like it's the exact same concept except for like your poop, and like you press the button, you do your business, press the button, and it just like vacuum seals it, and you're good. You put it back away.
And then how many vacuum sealed poops can you fit in there before you have to empty out the system?
Depends on how big the poops are, but usually 15 per bag, and the bags are expensive. But it was, oh my gosh, it was so funny because I wrote like such a crazy review, like absurd review for them. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the review. Like, we're gonna send you three free bags." And I'm like, "Yes, like another what is that? 3 free bags, another 45 poops. Let's go!" Like, but yeah, that's how I do the business.
Nice. Hey, throw out the name there one more time. What's the brand name?
The Laveo Dry Flush Toilet.
Laveo Dry Flush Toilet spokesperson. That's who we're talking to right here. Fruit Loops.
Yeah, I was talking.
Did they give you a sticker to put on the side of your van?
I might ask him for one, honestly. The guy was super cool. I was like emailing with the president of the company. I'm like, what? It's so funny how we were things thinking. My mom's like, "You're going to be a toilet spokesperson now. Like, you went from being a PA and now you speak on behalf of toilet companies." Like, what? Whatever pays the bills. You know, it's not paying me anything, but
well, it's providing a service for you.
Yeah, right.
All right. So tell us about some of the places you visited in your van. Where has this van life allowed you to roam?
Yeah, so I decided to head straight out to Utah from New York. So my dad was nice enough to like accompany me from New York to Colorado, like help me drive out. And then in Utah, I hit Capitol Reef, Canyonlands, Arches, and Escalante. Capitol Reef, Canyonlands, Arches, Escalante. Yeah, I hit those 4, and then I did California, where I did Kings Canyon, Yosemite, and one more that I can't remember the name of. And then I did Oregon. I did part of the Timberland Trail, and Washington was awesome. I did Olympic National Park. I did North Coast Trail, doing like Shy Beach and all of that good stuff. And then I did the Enchantments, like Enchanted Valley. I'm not sure if you've heard of that one. That was an amazing hike. And my last spot was Vancouver Island, where I actually didn't do as much. I did some hiking at Pacific National Reserve, Pacific Rim National Park, or Provincial Park for the Canadians. And then I actually surfed like the last week. So I was just like, why not?
Nice. Does your van include a surfboard?
No, it didn't come with a surfboard for whatever reason. Like I was pretty upset about that, but I was able to rent one on the island, so that's good.
All right. Now, when you're not in a national park, where do you park your van overnight? How does that work?
So typically I only go for free campsites because I'm trying to fall on a budget. So usually good spots for that are anywhere that allows for dispersed camping. So like national forests are great, BLM land. I use this app called like iOverlander, which is pretty solid. It basically gives you like a complete like just downloadable map of all the free sites in your area, and then you can also like sort by like water sources or bathrooms, showers, or Wi-Fi and all that stuff. So basically, I just try to stay at free sites.
Okay.
Yeah, while I'm van living.
All right. Hey, what's the next adventure for Fruit Loops out there? What do you got in your sights?
Okay, so here's the game plan. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, get ready. So I am applying for locum gigs, like so it's like a travel PA, travel nursing, where they can like basically contract work. So I signed up. I put my name for a locums agency, so I'm hoping that I can get a job in like California or something, and hopefully I'll start around October, November, and then work for 3 months. They pay you really well, and then after that, I'll either like extend for a month or so, or I will just go to South America, and I wanna like be in South America for like 6 months, maybe a year, depending on how much money I spend.
Now, what is the draw of South America? What do you want to do in South America?
So I want to just hit like a lot of the big hikes. So like obviously Patagonia, I want to do a bunch of Bolivian salt flats. Guatemala has some amazing volcano hikes that like look amazing, like look sick. And then Machu Picchu, all the like that, some of that touristy stuff. But I want to just like do that. And then also I have a lot of I'm half Chilean, so I have a lot of family throughout Chile. So I would love to like reconnect with a bunch of them along the way and hopefully become fluent in Spanish. Like I already speak it pretty well conversationally, so it'd be awesome to be like fluent in it perfectly. Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, South America would be good. Save some money. Hopefully, if I still want to surf, I can find some sick surf spots out there. And that was my that's my plan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Reconnecting with your heritage out there.
Hell yeah, man.
Awesome. Now I know you've been working on something called Wonderfar. You want to tell us a little bit about Wonderfar? What is that?
Yeah. So it's my website. It's like a blog / website, whatever you want to call it. And basically my vision I had for it was to kind of just inspire people without that kind of background, with like similar backgrounds to me, like living in a city or an urban area or even a suburban area, like without much exposure to the outdoors, to kind of try to get out there and do it. Like we've talked about, like I definitely bumbled on my way through like getting through the outdoors. And I know like for me, I was fine suffering a little bit and like still enjoying it. But some people like with a bad experience, they would not want to go back to doing something like that, So I think like to provide the knowledge and like just like some of the mistakes I made along the way, like if people can learn from that or they can get any sort of utility out of that, then I think that'd be pretty cool. And like it's given me so much like hiking and backpacking and this like these new interests and hobbies. Like it'd be cool to share that with others, like be a Joe for other people in the world.
Nice. Yeah. And what's the web address for the website?
It's www.wonderfar2rs.com. Not 2 R's, spelled out like that. 2 R's. Yeah. Don't forget that second R. You paid a lot for that R.
Got it. Fantastic. Well, hey, we want to wish you the very best out there in all your adventures and on your website. Hope it's very productive for you. And
thank you,
Fruit Loops, you know where we are right now?
Where are you?
Where are we?
We are on a computer screen.
We are on a computer screen, but we're also at
the Pro Tip Insight of the Week.
That's right. It's time for the Pro Tip Insight of the Week. What bit of trail wisdom do you have to share with our listeners to make their next outdoor experience even better?
Okay. And this should go, like, if you're already into hiking and backpacking, this may sound like, duh, like, obviously I do this, but I would say have a set gear list and test out every single piece of gear before you do it, like before you go out there. Just because like when you're out there, you're kind of out there, and I don't know, you don't have a crappy time on the trail. Like you want to be, like you said, a combination of comfort and well, you want to be as comfortable as you can while not killing yourself with the weight. So I would say have a clear set laminated, and I have like a laminated list of all things I need. I'm just like, okay, check, check, check. And like whenever I get a new piece of gear, I always like, I'll test it out and make sure it works and it's like actually usable. That's my tip.
Very wise, and you're learning from your own experience there, because you don't want to take a tent from your favorite uncle and try it out for the very first time, 10, 12 miles into the hike and realize that there's no rainfly.
Oh my gosh. He's not my favorite uncle anymore. Sorry, Uncle Eddie. You're done.
Uncle Eddie. Uncle Eddie. Nice. I'm glad we put a name to Uncle. Very good.
Let him know.
All right. So there you have it. That's it. This episode is just about in the books. Hope our listeners enjoyed our time with Fruit Loops. Want to thank him for joining us this week. Dylan, how can our listeners keep up with you on social media, and where can they find updates on your latest adventures?
Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram at wonderfar. Just at wonderfar, WONDERFARR, and the website as well. But usually I post more so like more generic, like hiking, like tips, tricks, stuff like that. If you're a beginner or newer hiker, if you're pretty experienced, I don't know how much you should find that in there, but.
Yeah. Do you post mostly pictures, or you have mostly videos? I was taking a cruise through your Instagram earlier, and it seemed pretty unique.
I'm different. Yeah, it's mostly videos. The reason being because like I'm pretty sure Instagram's what's it called? They've been putting a prioritization on like reels as opposed to just like single one-off pictures. So I was just like, well, if I want to like try to gain more traction, like traffic driving to the website, I decided to just be posting reels all the time. Just because like they want to be more like TikTok. So I figured if that's what they want.
Okay.
Do that.
Fruit Loops is out there gaming the algorithm. Nice job.
Yeah, I'm trying now.
All right. Hey, remember to check out the pod on social media as well. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Fruit Loops, you have a TikTok out there too?
Yeah, I think it's also at Wonderfar.
Okay.
Same thing.
All right.
Yeah, that's where we got the second R. 1 hour was taken.
Yeah. And also, if you have comments or clips you want to share, you can send it to me at johnfreakinmuir@gmail.com.
The
Brenda,
adventure
don't
media
text us.
recommendation.
All right, Dylan. Hey, I'm also looking to you to share a recommendation for a book, a movie, documentary, website, some kind of outdoor adventure media to keep our listeners connected to the trail. We call this our adventure media recommendation. What do you have for us?
Ooh, hold on, wait, let me think about that one first. It's actually a really good one. Have you ever, I only saw the movie, but the book is supposed to be really good too. It's called, I think it's Wilds. It's like that chick who, I don't remember who's the actress, but she goes to try to hike the PCT, and like she tries to put on her pack, like one of the opening scenes, like she tries to put on her pack, and she literally falls. Just in my head, she falls backwards, like with all the weight on it, and like she literally has to start like emptying her pack out. Like I thought that was pretty cool. Like it's a nice way to see like anyone could do it. It's walking.
Was that something you could relate to?
Oh yeah, I've like related to that hard. I was like, like I love that. Like just get out there, hike, try to be as safe as possible, right? But like anyone could do it.
Yeah, that was Reese Witherspoon in Wild, a book written by Cheryl Strayed, and she was as a lot of people are that are hiking 2,600 miles at a time. She was really dealing with some personal demons and trying to sort some things out in her life. So some really interesting stories talking to folks who are taking on challenges like that. Is that something that might interest you in the future? Doing something of a 1,000-mile, 2,000-mile hike?
Honestly, yeah. Like if I had, I'm just so like I'm a psycho, and I'm just like I'm always like I want to maximize like my time doing everything. So like part of me is just like I want to just see the highlights. Like if I could just see most of the highlights of it, I'd be cool. But like after meeting those PCT hikers on like in Ray Lakes, I was like, wow, like damn, that's pretty cool. But I'm scared now because like if I do one, I'm gonna want to do all three. Like I know I'm gonna want to do all three. I know because I'm a psycho, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll do something like short, like the JMT or something.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine what your father would say to you? You tell him, "Hey, I'm going to walk from Mexico to Canada."
You'd just be like, "Why? Why? Why are you doing this?" So funny.
What have we not asked you?
All right. Hey, and before we wrap things up, I've just got one more segment for you called "What Have I Not Asked You That You're Dying to Tell Us About?" What do we leave off today? What did we miss?
What did we leave off today? Let me see. Oh my gosh, I can give you a funny story.
Okay.
Let me give you like one of my nightmare van life stories. Okay.
Perfect.
So I was driving into a motel because I had friends visiting me, and we wanted to stay it was in between our backpacking trip, doing the North Coast and Olympic. So usually my van clears 9 foot, like 1 inch. Usually that's its clearance, right? So I was going through this like little tunnel thing up going to the motel parking lot, and it was on an incline, and I kind of turned into this tunnel. And as I see it's 9'2", so I'm like, oh, 9'1" will be perfect. As I turned, I straight up ripped my solar panel off the roof. So like, thank God it was only like 4 small holes where each of the screws were. But I was just like, it was late at night. I was like, what the hell am I going to do? So throwback to Walmart story. I went to Home Depot with two of my buddies, and I straight up bought $400 worth of power tools. I don't have like a drill gun in the van or like the things I need to fix it, like caulk or any of that stuff. So like I bought the tools I needed to fix. Needed to fix that, like the holes in the roof. And I went up. I like sealed. Me and my friend like sealed the holes. We were able to re-drill new screws, and we like caulked the entire thing so that way it was like blocked off and sealed. And then I returned everything back to Home Depot. I'm not a bad dude, I swear. I'm just
I notice a pattern here, Dylan.
Oh my gosh. I'm not that. Oh, I'm pretty cheap, but I don't got much money coming in, so I gotta do what we gotta do. Sorry.
Gotta do what you gotta do. All right.
Don't text me, Brenda.
or me.
Yeah, but I don't want to see anything in my DMs.
All right. Hey, that's a wrap from the John Freaking Muir Studio. Any shout outs to friends and family, Fruit Loops?
Thanks, Dad, for not being too upset with me. Thanks, Kiara, for letting me use her headphones, and that's about it. Love you all, and to the next time. See you next time.
Is she into the van life as well?
No. She doesn't live in a van. She doesn't live in a van. She does not. She lives in the city still, but yeah. No.
Are you going to convert her?
Probably. I'm just like, I'm thinking about honestly like getting rid of the van because I'm just a little afraid of South America. Like I'm not sure how smart of an idea it would be to like leave something like that like out there for that long. I don't know how like safe the area is. I don't know. There's dangerous places all over, but I was thinking about getting like a Jeep and just converting it, make it downsizing a little bit, and like converting, like make it a little top and stuff like that. But
is the plan then to drive the Jeep or the van down to South America?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's another episode right there. We need to have you back on and hear about that trip.
I would love to come back on and tell you all about it.
Okay.
Hopefully, I promise you'll have more stories.
All right.
Hopefully I'm not returning as much things, but
well, we'll see. I'm not holding my breath on that one.
Smart man, Doc. Smart man.
All right. Hey, thank you for tuning in. Always remember the trail is the trail. It doesn't care if you want to go downhill. It doesn't care if it's almost dark and you're looking for a campsite. It doesn't even care if you're facing another night of being the big spoon in the tent with Tom. The trail is the trail. Embrace the suck.